Alrighty. I'm trying to get this done in 10 minutes. This is a video response to Largosmaximus about his video game piracy video. Now then, let us try and understand where we're going to come from here. To me, there's two things in question, and they are MAME and actually doing downloading ROMs and emulators. MAME. That is going to be perfectly legal by my standards, because very few people are rich enough to have a big house and just one big ass room where they can get nothing but, cabinets in their room. It's just inevitable. So there we'll go as far as the MAME. Now, as far as actual games, excuse me, downloading ROMs that are, downloading ROMs that are about, I don't know, of games that are, we'll say, 20 years old or so, that is within an acceptable limit. Generally the reason is because the game isn't being produced anymore, so you're okay. The issue comes when you start downloading, as far as I'm concerned, PS1, PS2, PS3, Xbox 360, Xbox, or any of those types of systems. Then we have an issue. I mean, there are people that will look at it in this sense, that we shouldn't be downloading games like, well, here, we'll do it this way. We shouldn't be downloading games like, we'll say, even Earthbound. And one thing that doesn't get looked at, I think, enough at times is this. When you go to look for a game to purchase, you generally want to try and find a game at a reasonable price. Unfortunately, because of the advent of some sites like GameGavel / Chase the Chuckwagon and eBay, among others, Intari.net, some people may overvalue the games. Like, I've done a video called Trade Secret where I said that people shouldn't, people want a game and they just want to play it. They don't want to have to, pay through the nose to be able to buy the game. So what happens sometimes is people get this idea, let's emulate such and such. And it turns into one big war between the pirates and the game companies. Also, it just seems that when we look at the way the game industry has gone, there are companies that will do things to attempt to stop the whole piracy issue, but it's inevitable that people are just going to get around it, to the point where they'll take a bunch of ROMs and emulators, and they'll figure out how to stick them on a CD, which, I don't know if you can see it, but behind me is a bunch of these things. So what ends up happening is people will take these, okay, and they'll stick them on a CD-ROM, and they'll go, hey, today we're going to play blank, and we're going to be playing it on our whatever, because we took a ROM and emulators and stuck them on there. When we look at stores, this is what I was going to mention. When we look at the way stores deal with pricing games sometimes, between, and then there are stores that are guilty of it. You want to buy a game, but I've seen it where a game, which has not been widely available since about 1990, I want to say 5 maybe, which was Earthbound. It's got a price anywhere between $125 to $200. The last game I paid $200 for was a Sailor Moon RPG, which I have over in my modded Super Nintendo. You know, sometimes it's the game stores that lead to piracy. It also when you think about it, stores like GameStop or any store that sells secondhand games kind of contribute to the downfall of the game market, because when you sell a used game, okay, and by the way, this works if you sell it off of eBay, Chase Chuckwagon, or Game Gavel, Dentari, whatever. If you think about it, you were the only one seeing the money, not the game company. This is why a lot of people don't really. It bothers me more when people don't push people buying new product. To be perfectly frank, when I buy my Super Famicom games, technically speaking, they're new cartridges. They're sealed. They're in the boxes. They're complete. Everything. Well, okay, they're not sealed because when I get them, they have to test them. But the point is, it's still bought by the company. You see, you think about it. When you buy a game from someone secondhand, an eBay seller, Chase Chuckwagon person, again, whatever, that person's getting the money and not the company who made it. So is piracy the problem? I wonder sometimes if it's not just piracy that's an issue, but used games in general. Because what's going to end up happening, and not many people think about it, is with used game sales, that can still very easily lead to another video game crash. Just nobody's ever thought of it that way. I mean, really, if you buy a game from GameStop, or I think over in the UK, there's a store called Game, and it's used. The store gets 100% of the money. The company doesn't get any of it. So it's almost as if you're dealing with what we'll call legalized pirating. That's just my way of looking at it. And not a lot of people really think of it that way. Maybe I'm off base. Maybe I'm wrong. You tell me, Largos, and I'll talk to you later. Cheers, mate.